Okay, hey guys, welcome to my first video for the Box Grind, the latest publication for all of your CrossFit needs. So I'm Johnny, I'm from Next Step Nutrition, and I'm an evidence-based nutrition consultant and coach, which means that all of my nutritional advice comes from a combination of research as well as client practice. Okay, so a lot of nutritional people out there will focus only on the N=1, so what results they've had either with themselves or with clients, rather than focusing on the principles that allowed that method to be successful. Whereas an evidence-based practitioner will be aware that everybody is different with how they respond to different things. They'll be aware of the different principles and why they allow certain methods to be effective, and then use a combination of those two factors for the best recommendations for the clients in front of them or the general population, what have you. So today I wanted to do my first video on the paleo model of nutrition versus the if it fits your macros approach. So first we need to clarify what these things are. The Paleolithic model of nutrition, or the paleo diet as it's more commonly known, has several different strands, and you can be really die hard with it or a little bit relaxed with it, so its clarification is quite hard, but essentially it's a natural all whole food diet. So if it doesn't grow from the ground, or if it has a if it doesn't grow from the ground and it doesn't have a sell by date, then you can't eat it essentially, or you shouldn't eat it. So the model is based upon our ancestry and saying how, because we used to hunt and gather our foods, that these are the foods that we've evolved to eat and digest, and therefore these are the best foods for our bodies. So whole meats, nuts, seeds, vegetables, that kind of thing. Strictly specifies that you shouldn't be eating any grains, shouldn't be eating any dairy, no beans and legumes, that kind of thing. So where this falls down really is in the research of our ancestors. There is evidence that they ate grains. Okay, so there's evidence within their dental records that they ate foods that are similar to grains, and their whole idea around dairy being not natural, bad for you, is a complete myth. There are so many randomized control trials that show benefits of consuming dairy for optimal health, and the fact that our body actually through the years of evolution have evolved to produce lactase when consuming dairy, so that we can actually digest milk unless you are lactose intolerant. Okay, so there aren't any real reasons to be avoiding dairy, and it is a natural food source produced by cows that we then just pasteurize for human consumption. The whole thing around grains and legumes being bad for us is complete nonsense. There are so many randomized control trials that show health benefits of consuming grains. Beans and legumes are great sources of dietary carbohydrate, fiber and protein, so there's no real need to avoid these foods just because they tell you to. All right. Where the Paleolithic model is great is that it emphasizes whole food and natural food consumption. So usually you do eat a lot more meat, you eat a lot more protein, and you eat a lot more vegetables because your carbohydrate source becomes very narrow. This increased consumption of meat and vegetables, I'm not going to disagree with, all right? More people, everyone, should be eating more lean protein and more vegetables. And by doing this and reducing junk food, reducing starchy carbohydrates, you might find that you lose weight, but that's because of the lowering in calories. And also, yeah, the increase in food quality helps, but the lowering in calories is what causes the weight loss. In terms of an if it fits your macros approach, we need to clarify again exactly what this means. It's been demonized by the bro group, because all you'll see is them eating cereal and Pop-Tarts and sugary foods and ice cream and saying, yeah, you know, if it fits your macros, I can get away with eating these foods. And to a point that is correct, but just because you're really lean doesn't mean you're really healthy. So if it fits your macros should be better seen as a flexible dieting approach, where if you fit foods within your calories and you're eating plenty of protein, carbohydrates and fats to suit your goals, whether that be weight loss, performance or health, then the variety of foods that you can enjoy is massive. Yeah, so there's no difference between having beef or chicken or turkey as your protein source. There are minute differences, but on a grand scheme, it doesn't really matter. Similar with carbohydrates, rice, potatoes, bread, pasta, they're all carbohydrate sources. So having a variety of these foods is going to be better for you in terms of getting a wide range of nutrients and also enjoying your diet. This is the main thing. Fitting in then some flexible foods, so fitting in some cereal, fitting in some sweets, fitting in some junk food, alcohol, these can all be done as part of a balanced diet and you will still be healthy. If it weren't the case that this was false, then endurance runners, for example, who eat a lot of high sugar foods would be unhealthy because they're eating sugar. But they're clearly not, are they? Because these sugary foods are actually helping them reach the carbohydrate needs necessary for their optimal performance. It's just like that time when we saw Usain Bolt eating chicken nuggets and thought, what the heck's going on here? Well, he's a professional athlete with a massive calorie output. He probably eats more food than just chicken nuggets, and because that fits into the context of a calorie controlled diet, he is still a healthy individual and one of the fastest men alive. Obviously there's a genetic component there too, but he's hardworking and it fits within his macros. So what's the big deal? There's evidence that shows that having junk food acutely has no negative effects on hormones or blood lipids or cholesterol levels. So being able to fit in some ice cream and junk food every now and then within your diet is going to allow you to enjoy it more and then be more successful. Because if you hate what you're doing, there's no way you're going to stick to it. And the optimal plan that isn't stuck to is a crappy plan, okay? The biggest factor of dietary success is adherence, which means sticking to it, and that means you need to enjoy it. And so for that reason, I prefer to use an if it fits your macros or flexible dieting approach with my clients as opposed to a paleo diet model. However, if you're a non-tracker or you're just starting to eat healthily, then going more toward a paleo model is great because you're going to be eating more natural foods, more protein and more vegetables. But just be aware of the limitations of having such a rigid dietary approach can have, not only on your dietary success, but on your mindset around good or bad foods. As soon as you have a quote unquote bad food, if that's going to lead you to self-sabotage or binge or overeat, then that's not a great mindset to be in. You're much better off knowing that these foods are okay on occasion, and as long as it fits into the context of an overall healthy diet, you're going to be absolutely fine. My biggest message here is there are no unhealthy foods in and of themselves. There are just unhealthy diets. Okay, so stick within the context of the bigger picture.